Hey, or something is blocking
I
your
want to be
camera.
featured on podcast.
I
Camera.
don't know what that is.
Check your
Oh,
camera.
like the little swipe thing.
There you go.
There you go. Are we live? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another week of football. Now, this one, it's had its ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? But we have seen some good things and some bad things. And as, name of this title, there's some things that we need to talk about. Fellas, what do we want to start with first?
Finance.
Well, we can talk about the since these two Monday night games are going on. We can talk about the most recent one. So we can talk about Ravens Bills on Sunday Night Football.
All right, so how did y'all feel with
I can join
the
it.
Bills play against the Ravens? And then how do y'all feel about the Ravens bouncing back from those two straight losses?
I thought it was a good bounce back win for the I would not bounce back because they won last week against Dallas, but it was kind of an unimpressive win because they lost the lead. But I thought this was a good win. They stuck to what they are as a football team. I thought in the first two games of the NFL season, the Baltimore Ravens were trying to act like a passing team, which they're not. They have Derrick Henry, who was their main free agency acquisition, and they didn't really use him. They used Derrick Henry on the first drive against the Chiefs, and we won and kind of went away from it. I think he had like under 13 touches, which is not going to win you football games for the Ravens. But overall, they won up front in the trenches. Offensive line was blocking good, making sure Derrick Henry was clearing passes, clearing to the second level. And the Buffalo Bills really got outcoached on every facet of the game. When you lose a game like that, when you lose on offense, defense, special teams, you really just get outcoached. For the Buffalo Bills, this was kind of a bad loss, but it's good it happened to them earlier in the season because, later on it will be more of an issue. But the Buffalo Bills have problems to airing out. Like their defense, in my opinion, is too soft up the middle. Their D linemen are too light in the ass, and their linebackers are too skinny, in my opinion, as well. So I didn't even think they had a good day against the Dolphins against the run. Like I think HN had like 7 yards per rush, and they got glossed over because they blew them out. But they have their problems on defense. I think DeMar Hamlin, for as good as he is market wise for the NFL and spreading awareness, I think he needs to be benched. He's not a starting level safety at all. Nah, not at all. And on the offensive side of the ball, I thought it was for the Bills. I thought it was very, very troublesome. They couldn't get. Well, the Ravens are like the number one defense against the run, which I thought like they weren't going to, like James Cook wasn't going to have an exploding game. So I wasn't really surprised by that, but Josh, I didn't even think Josh played a bad game. Like his numbers are down, and like if you look at it from like a box score standard, he didn't play good. But I think he played an okay game of football. Joe Brady changed the course of the game when he called for a trick play when they was getting momentum. Like I think they had about 3 rushes from Cook, and it was like first down, and then they're in like almost Ravens territory, down 11. This was like 21-10, and they're gonna run a trick play, which was the clearest trick play I ever seen to this day. You're gonna have Curtis Samuel in the backfield, and Josh Allen on the left. As a wide receiver. And of course, Curtis Samuel is going to pass the ball to Josh Allen. Like that's not really anything that I haven't seen before. And it was executed badly. And that kind of ended the game. The Ravens just kind of pounded down their throat. Lamar had a really efficient game, but it wasn't like spectacular or anything. Derrick Henry kind of took over this game. And Derrick Henry, this game and last game, has been their most impactful and best player so far. 200 yards rushing, and I think he had over 150 against the Cowboys. So it's looking like King Henry is the formula for the Ravens, and hopefully, that'll help him out because the Ravens are looking to contend. Me, as a fan of like the game, it doesn't really matter who wins it. I mean, who wins between these two teams? I just want these two teams to like either beat Kansas City because it's the same old story. Like I think niggas are kind of tired of it. So as long as one of these niggas beat Kansas City, I'm cool with that. Like that's just me, like because I'm not trying to see Mahomes get like ring 7 in like the next 2 years. Like I'm not trying to see that. You feel me? Like I don't know. And niggas already telling me he's better than Brady. Especially some people on this panel, and he hasn't had the longevity to put those numbers up. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the game. On that game, the Ravens are contenders. Of course, we dropped them when we did the tier list. I think we put them in mid or playoff tier. It was something like that, but they're gonna go back up to that. They can go back up to that to the upper echelon, in my opinion.
I didn't know we were throwing the shot so early. Only like 6 minutes into the live. I want to address one of your latter points before I get into my main point. Kind of a discussion I want to have before we get into some of these games. But you said that you don't care. You just want to see one of these teams basically in the Super Bowl, or really anybody except for Kansas City, because your hate, your vitriol for the Kansas City Chiefs is glowing, and it's honestly kind of sad because like everybody is a fan of sports for different reasons. Some people want to see competition, some people want to see greatness. I'm assuming you're on the former. You just want to see good competition, which is great. But you and I both know that people actually love to see dominance. They love to
I
see
think people are tired of it.
Oh, how could they be tired of it? They just won. So, all right. So my question for you is: in the '90s, were people tired of the Chicago Bulls? Were the people tired of the New England Patriots? Were people tired of the Golden State Warriors? People tired of Los Angeles Lakers?
I think people were tired of the New England Patriots, and I think people were tired of the other team. The Golden State Warriors.
But guess what though?
Niggas were definitely tired of the Golden State Warriors in 2018, 2019.
But guess what though? Since 2019. What have the NBA Finals ratings been?
But that's not general consensus of how like the fan base wants parity, and
no they don't because
this
there's
style
parity in the NBA and niggas don't want to watch that shit.
So you telling me NFL fans would want to see 5 straight years of Patrick Mahomes winning the Super Bowl? Nobody wants to see that. I'm sorry.
Clearly they do, because the ratings just keep on going up.
No.
They
want to see competitive games. They want to see competitive games. And
wait, so you're saying Mahomes doesn't bring competitive games?
No. I'm saying we want to see shit interesting. We want to see interesting storylines. There's no interesting storylines every year. The only interesting storyline is Travis Kelce's wash.
No.
Oh wow. That's the only interesting storyline that we got.
I got a question. Last year, over the course of the season, who was picking Kansas City to win the Super Bowl over the course of the season?
A lot. They were the underdog for the past 2 Super Bowls.
Thank you,
sir. That's not true. That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Preseason favorites.
At the 49ers.
No. Preseason favorites, they were top 3. So if you're top 3, there's no excuses. And according to y'all, they have the best player in football on that team, and they have a top tier coach of all time on that team, and they have the top 3 defense on their roster, and they have arguably the greatest tight end at his position on their team. They have no excuses not to be contenders, and they were already preseason. They were already in preseason contention. I think they were like second. So let's stop with that. Second to
I vividly remember the 49ers being the favorites after
that's what I'm saying.
CMC and Purdy season. They had them as
who was number 2 then? Who was number 2 every year?
It was either the Chiefs or the Ravens.
No. It was the Chiefs because the Ravens didn't. Because the Ravens before last year, they didn't have that many pieces out. I don't think going into that season. But overall, my point is, I'm tired of seeing them. I'm tired of seeing them win. It's not really hatred. It's just I don't think it's entertaining. Like when I see the Chiefs play a game of football, it's always a close game of football, and it never intrigues me because there's nothing new that I haven't seen. All I'm seeing is it's a close game, refs not make any calls, and the Chiefs just win games. I don't understand how that's interesting.
Okay, so
And it's not even like, and hold on real quick. It's not even like they're playing like how our team offensively football games anymore. Mahomes is like number one in short yardage because like he's just dinking and ducking. So it's not even like it's enjoyable. It's not.
I got one form of advice for you, and then I'm gonna get back to my main point. Stop watching. Just don't watch him play since you're so tired of it.
I'm gonna watch it, but it's not entertaining.
I'm gonna go back to my point. So when we talk about like the Ravens game, I think that this game was really encompasses like I did have Josh Allen favored to win MVP before the season. I still feel pretty good about that, but that doesn't make this Bills team a great team. I think what's happening is I do think that the chemistry of the team is better this year than last year because of somebody that's down there in Houston. And I do think that Josh Allen is playing with a lot of joy. He's playing with a lot of passion. And he's very, very comfortable out there. Now, I do think that when you don't have not necessarily a Stephon Diggs, but when you don't have an elite explosive weapon, when you do go against a good to great team, because if we look at the Baltimore Ravens, their pass offense is actually really, really bad, but they were able to get pressure on Josh Allen and they eradicated the run game. So those guys on the outside, they're not great. So that equal opportunity offense doesn't really work that well when you're going against a great team and you get behind by a lot. So they had no chance in that game, but I do still think that they have an opportunity to do some damage because they're not going to play that many teams like Baltimore. And I think that Baltimore will self-destruct once they get to the divisional round because that's just kind of their nature. But I do think this was a good win for the Baltimore Ravens. It's good to see that. It's good to see Lamar Jackson critics continue to be proven correct because we continue to say that they need to run football. Because if you're reliant on his passing, you're relying on him to win with his arm and his pocket presence, kind of putting yourself in a lose situation. I think that they probably started listening to the media and what people are saying on social media just to feed Derrick Henry the ball. Because why do you have him if you're not going to feed him and get him touches? He's a running back that needs a lot of touches. And this is the style of play that if they play this over the course of the season and Derrick Henry is healthy at the end of the season, then they continue that play in the playoffs as well. They got a solid shot. They got a good shot to make something happen. Do I trust them? No, I do not, because I'm somebody that I have to go off what my eyes have told me. You have to continue to prove to me to change my opinion that you can get it done. Baltimore Ravens over the course of Lamar Jackson's career haven't shown that they can get it done when it counts the most. So regular season, I'm not moved. I'm not bothered. I think that AFC North is not as good as we thought it was going to be. The Cleveland Browns are abysmal because they have a quarterback problem. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, though they have won games with elite defense, I still don't trust them because that offense leaves a lot to be desired. The Cincinnati Bengals, it's going to take a lot for them to get back to where we had them. Are they a playoff team? Possibly, maybe, but we don't see them contending. So I think that division is still in the grasp of the Baltimore Ravens, which is crazy since over the first two games of the season, we had them kind of dead. But, when you dominate the Dallas Cowboys pretty for like 3 quarters, and then you dominate the Buffalo Bills, who a lot of niggas had as the favorites, then you get that. They have a lot of momentum right now. So going into next week, Cincinnati, they always beat up on Cincinnati. They'll be 3-2 in the first 5 weeks of the season. And I think that that'll be pretty good for morale and pretty good for the momentum for the rest of the year because they are going to have a difficult schedule. They were the number one overall. They were the number one seed last year. So the schedule is going to be tough, but they can get it done because of their style of play. Nobody really plays like them in today's modern football. So those are my key takeaways about that. I kind of feel bad for Josh Allen. He was getting hit a lot, pressured a lot. Coaching is not good. I don't know why Sean McDermott is still a head coach for the Buffalo Bills, but hey, man, that's what you gotta. That's what you gotta hang your hat on, man. Like when you have a great quarterback, like me personally, I don't think that Zach Taylor is a good coach. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a great quarterback, and then for a little while you have great talent surrounding head coaches, they can get away with being average to incompetent to inept. But when you start to lose a few pieces and your quarterback can't put on the Superman cape, They need some coaching to elevate the players and the pieces around them. We have a great quarterback. You don't have to worry about him for the most part. Great quarterbacks, when they get to about year 4 or 5, don't really need to be coached. You know what I'm saying? They have command over that offense. They have command over that playbook. They can get the job done. It's the auxiliary pieces. It's decision-making that go and play calling that goes into you being a good coach. So Sean McDermott, it might be time to move on because I don't know if there's another level they can take this team. But all in all, those are just my key takeaways. The Baltimore Ravens is just a better team.
Yeah. From this game, I definitely think Baltimore was going to get away with the win because that defense was on Josh Allen. But Joe Brady, I mean, that play call really, was the difference maker because they could have brought their lead down to what, 4? So I was kind of confused by that play call. It really didn't make no sense at the time because Baltimore's run defense is like elite. So that's pretty crazy. But I find it a little hilarious how at the beginning of the season, John Harbaugh was like, we didn't bring Derrick Henry in to, run the ball with him 30 times like in Tennessee. But now, when you feeding Derrick Henry the ball, he's the reason they won these 2 games. So I think it's just ironic and, a little bit hilarious how he was talking all that about how we're not finna, force feed Derrick Henry. But when you force feed Derrick Henry, he's winning you games because, up front, they got a great O-line blocking them. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Ravens. Definitely a great bounce back from, those first 2 games because I don't know what was going on at first. And I like what I'm seeing from, Lamar, even though he's not really doing much. He's still, playing better than I kind of thought he was because I thought he was going to, decline this entire season. Not going to lie. But, so far, football is looking good. Buffalo Bills, I'm not really worried. I still have them doing pretty good. They're probably going to make the playoffs, lose a couple more games, shall I say. But, Caleb, I did want to ask you, so is this not a good narrative for the Kansas City Chiefs with losing Rashee Rice and the Chiefs going to Super Bowl? Is that not a good narrative?
Thank you.
Losing their wide receiver 1.
It's fine, but like, here's my thing, and I'll make this argument. It's kind of the equivalent of like LeBron James and when he was with the Cavs in the second time going through the East, and he lost Kevin Love in the playoffs. It's like it's still nothing. They're gonna get to the Super Bowl anyway. So like, why should I care about this? Like why should I care about this important player? Because they're gonna replace him anyway. But the guy they're gonna replace him with is not gonna be as good as Rashee Rice, but he's gonna step in that role. So why is this enjoyable? Like, you feel what I'm saying? It's giving me much like LeBron James in the East vibes. Like, this is gonna steamroll through everybody.
I got a question. So, do you not in football? Brady is considered the GOAT, correct?
By a lot of people, I don't really consider him the GOAT.
Never mind. We can just move on.
People only consider him the GOAT because he plays quarterback position, and people just overvalue the quarterback position.
Okay, so who is the GOAT quarterback? Who is Brady considered the GOAT quarterback?
You can say that.
Is he? Do you think that Tom Brady is the GOAT quarterback? Because if not, we can just move on.
You can say that, yeah.
All right, we can move on.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, man. Oh my God.
Say that. When I ask you a question, just answer.
Aaron Rodgers. No. I say Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback, but greatest, yeah. You can give me Tom Brady. Best quarterback is Aaron Rodgers to me, though.
Fine. So, don't you want to see somebody surpass? So with the LeBron James situation, like LeBron James and Jordan, I hear a lot of people, especially people in my generation, that say, don't you want LeBron to pass? You want somebody to pass Jordan one day? So what I'm hearing from you is that you don't want the Chiefs to continue to win or whatever. But for Mahomes to, get into the GOAT conversation or to be the GOAT, he does need to win more. You know what I'm saying? So, do you not care about seeing people achieve greatness, achieving things that we haven't seen before? Because a three-peat is something we haven't seen before. So yeah, you can say you're getting tired of the Chiefs, but they would be doing something legendary that hasn't been seen in the Super Bowl era, that hasn't been seen in our lifetime. Just that accomplishment, that achievement, especially with some of the things that are happening to the team, losing key pieces that people that picked them to 3P thought were going to help them contribute to getting a Super Bowl. So with all of that adversity over the course of the season, they're not going to go. They're not going to go undefeated. They're going to have some ups and downs over this season. So to see them get through that and then have competitive games and win a Super Bowl, to say that you don't want to see that, I get it if you just want to see somebody else win, but I understand how you can be tired of that because we'd be witnessing something that we never seen before. I guess you probably just want to see a different team win. It's understandable, but we'd be witnessing greatness.
Yeah, I'm not saying we won't be witnessing greatness. But like the point of Brady didn't win it every year. Brady won 7 years out of 21. So about 33% of his career he won. Other years, and he had a drought in the late 2000s, like right after
They lost Eli.
Well, actually before Eli. And so he won 3 championships like in like his first 4 seasons, and then or first 5 seasons, and then after that, from like 2005 through like when they played against the Seahawks, so about like a 9-year stretch, Brady didn't win shit. So and I'm not saying I don't want Mahomes to basically like give up, but I just don't think it's that entertaining for me to watch. I don't think the parody's that good, and the thing is, like, this kind of gives me the Golden State Warriors when Golden State Warriors added KD, and many people many true NBA fans didn't like it because they thought the parity was off. And even going into like 2018 season, 2019 season, even though they lost, many people, without injuries, Golden State would have won anyway. So I don't think it provides me with enough enjoyable football to watch. And the Chiefs play style, like I said earlier, and mind you, like overall, I'm not trying to get at the fact that like I don't want them to have good legacies, but the Chiefs play style it's kind of boring to me. They give so much credit to Mahomes, and his defense is giving up 10 points against the Chargers, 17 points in the first game against the Ravens, but they give up like 20 or 13, something like that. So we're all putting it on Mahomes and Kelsey, but we're not even giving credit to other guys, Chris Jones, Trent McDuffie's, the Spagnolias, the entire defense. And the defense was the main reason why they won the Super Bowl last year. And people don't even admit that. We just give Mahomes the credit because he's the quarterback. So, that's my thing with it. Like, I do want to see somebody else have a jab at it, like as a competitor. Like even when I play sports, I don't want the same team winning all the time. Even if like they were like better than us, like I didn't think it was enjoyable. So that's just kind of how I look at it. And we can have our differences. That's perfectly fine. Y'all appreciate greatness, and I appreciate greatness to a certain degree, but I also want to see it more competitive and more parity in NFL. So I mean, it is what it is. But you really can't tell me with a straight face that the outcomes of these games have been, like just look at the first 3 games of their season. The game against the amount of missed calls that they don't get, like the call they got against the Bengals and the call that didn't get called when they played against the Falcons. You can't tell me that happens to most of these NFL teams. Even Rob Gronkowski said that, hey, Chiefs get more calls than we did back in the day, which I don't think is true because Patriots got a lot of calls, a lot of bad calls back in the day. Like the whole Chris Jones hitting Patrick Mahomes on the arm and it being a roughing the passer in the AFC championship game, I thought was stupid. The whole tuck rule is stupid. Like they should have lost that game. So that's just how I look at it. And we can be different, I guess, but I just want to see a different team coming out the AFC. And I think the Bills and the Ravens, they have been the best teams besides the Chiefs this whole decade. So I think they have the best slides at it because the other teams like the Bengals are a bit inconsistent. And Burrow's been having a great year, which nobody's been saying. Burrow's been having a really good year. But the other teams, they don't really excel in the quarterback position. And Trevor Lawrence, who I picked I picked his team to go to the Super Bowl has been disappointing. That may be the worst pick ever that I ever had. And they're 0-4. And Trevor Lawrence has looked like a tight end throwing the football. He's overthrowing passes. He's like opposite Daniel Jones. He's like the opposite of Daniel Jones to me. Daniel Jones will underthrow the ball like 10 yards. He would just air the ball out 10 yards. He missed Christian Kirk on an easy bomb by 10 yards. Easy bomb. And the pocket was clean, so it wasn't even like he was rushed or anything. So, and he also missed Brian Thomas Jr. If y'all remember this clip, on the left side, Brian Thomas Jr. Hit the dude with the go route. Hit him with a double move, wide open, overthrow. So Trevor Lawrence has been a disappointment to me. That entire 2021 or 2021 draft class was just terrible as quarterbacks. It's just terrible. It makes me look at like the 2018 draft class differently. Because the 2018 draft class is I don't know if y'all know, like Sam Darnold, Josh Allen,
Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen is like the bad quarterback in there. Lamar Jackson and who's the other guy in there that came out that draft? There's another guy, but he's pretty good in the NFC.
Sam Darnold.
Well, you said 2018?
Yeah, 2018. It
was
was
Patrick in that draft?
No. Patrick was 2017.
Oh, Mahomes was 2017.
Yeah. You know, Mahomes sat the first year.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I'm gonna get to in our upcoming video talking about the NFL scoring decline. Mahomes sitting out the first year was really, really good, and I think that will be good for Drake May. But the difference is Drake May is sitting under like a pretty bad quarterback, and Mahomes sat under Alex Smith, who's actually one of the better quarterbacks. I think Alex Smith was like 30 MVP voting in 2016. So I think that has kind of
it's a good bet to be.
Yeah, that's a really good bet. So I think that's kind of played into the play of Tom Brady saying the quarterback position has declined, which it has if you look at the production. And I think more teams need to follow through that. Caleb Williams, which we'll get to later in this video, I think has done a pretty good job of progressing with every game. He's gotten better. Even though if you look at the statistics, it's not gaudy, but he's improving. He's improving his time, and he's improving in how he feels comfortable in the pocket. I think Caleb Williams is kind of understanding he can't run away from like linemen like that.
Man.
Yeah, it's a bit different in college. You can just run around.
And also pivoting off of what you said, especially when the biggest thing, because I did pick the Bears to make it, but the biggest thing that was concerning for me was I knew Caleb Williams was going to have growing pains. I thought this O-line was going to be better. And so when you can't,
I remember you telling me you was like the O-line's going to be like really good, and I was like, I don't know about that.
I thought they were, because they were like top 10 last year, so I thought that they were going to improve. So my thing was like, we're going to talk about Jayden Daniels. When I watched him play, he's operating with a clean pocket every time, so he's able to go through all of his progressions, and he's accurate. He's super accurate. But when I watched that Cincinnati game, now Cincinnati, their defense is bad, but they have a lot of injuries on their front.
They don't have a good pass rush besides Trey Henderson. Nobody else. I think Trey Henderson is Pro Football Focus is like 20th or something sub 20, which is really good. Everybody else is like in the 80s and above, which is terrible.
He's elite, and they lost two guys. But in that game, Jayden Daniels was operating with a clean pocket the whole time, and he's basically been operating with a clean pocket the whole season. Now, their defense is not that good, but when you have a good quarterback, dog, that can operate in the pocket, because Jayden Daniels is dynamic with his legs, but he makes great moves. When you have a clean pocket, any of these guys, like we're talking like Sam Darnold, Jared Goff, any good quarterback that has a clean pocket is gonna be elite. So Caleb Williams, that's why I agree with Caleb. I think that number one overall picks are all set up to fail because you're a number one overall pick, you're gonna start. Because you're gonna go to a team that's so bad that they're not gonna have anybody to start ahead of you. And as a number one overall pick, you don't want to see you come off the bench because you're supposed to be a generational talent. You should step in and be able to get shit done. But I do think that if like Caleb Williams, not Justin Fields, Justin Fields is still young. But if he had like this is putting it out there, but if he had like a Joe Flacco, or if he had like a Andy Dalton, like somebody that is a tenured veteran and he would learn from them, build up his maturity.
David Montgomery just killed him, man.
Learn the game. Then, like if you put him in at the second half of the season or beginning of the next season, we we wouldn't even be seeing steady growth. He would already kind of have it. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, like not everybody CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud took a team that had, first of all, D'Amico is a hell of a coach. He's a great coach. He's a great defensive mind. So when you have that, that kind of is the blueprint. Blueprint is to have, everybody wants a great coach. But if you have a quarterback, a defensive coach, that's a great coach because he can show you how to navigate with those defenses. Look at Belichick, Brady, D'Amico. You know what I'm saying? So with that, you can learn. And they had very underrated weapons last year that we just didn't know about. And we didn't know about Nico Collins and Tank Dell until they took off. But that was a good situation. The Texans were kind of in transition. The Bears are not really ran well. And the coaching has been suspect. Like, I just don't think that really a good coach. And online has been bad. So when you got guys like, and then I think that for a rookie, leadership, like it's kind of hard to expect your rookie who's a quarterback. Like I don't understand why rookies have to have our captains have C's on their jersey. I understand you're the quarterback, but you've done nothing to get that C on your jersey. Having a C means you're a leader of the team. Can't you be a leader just because you're a quarterback? And I think that with those type of expectations, you're expected to lead. You're also expected to be great. That sets people like Caleb Williams up for failure, and everything is going to be scrutinized because you're number one overall pick. I do think that some of those guys need to kind of take accountability from a leadership perspective to be like, and I think they've done that slowly but surely. Like some of the things I saw from DJ Moore at the beginning of the season, I didn't like that because it's like, dude, he's a rookie. Like, yes, he's the number one overall pick, but it's gonna take some time. With your theatrics on the, when you don't get the ball, I understand it, but you've already gotten your money. So it's not like a Jamar Chase situation where you need to make sure that you get your stats right so you can get paid at the end of the year. You got your bread. It's about winning and the development of this quarterback who's the future of this franchise. So not to go on a tangent to get sidetracked, but there's a lot going wrong with there's a lot of stuff that's going wrong with the rookies that come into play, especially like first round picks. Like people are saying, is the second round pick is the way to go. Delusion. It's not that. It's just that for the most part, people that the number one overall pick is going to go to a shitty organization. So not just a bad team, but bad coaching and bad ownership. How many people that have the number one overall pick have good coaches and good owners? They don't.
Cam.
Huh?
Cam. Yeah.
Cam
Newton.
Ownership, but they had good coach.
Yeah, they had good coaching.
They're Ron Rivera, but it typically doesn't happen. Now, the second overall pick is a little weird, but for the most part, top picks, they're not going to good situations. But in football, it is a team sport and it's a difficult sport, especially as a quarterback. A lot of it is stuff that you can't really teach. Like, a lot of it is stuff that can't be taught, but it's not physicals. Like all the great quarterbacks for the most part have physicals. They have great physical traits. Lamar Jackson with his legs, Josh Allen with his arm, with his size, Mahomes with his arm. These guys are great physical traits, but that doesn't make them great quarterbacks. It's up here between the ears. That's what makes them great, and that's not something that you can just get like this by being thrown into the fire first game of the season, rookie year, barely a training camp with not enough reps. And another thing I wanted to ask about you, CJ, is the preseason. Niggas not playing the preseason, so the first few games of the season is like the preseason for niggas. You're probably only playing 10 snaps. 10 snaps as a starter the entire preseason. That's taken away from niggas having timing. So now they're trying to get it over the first few games. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think that the running backs have been more pivotal. And quarterback play is going down because these guys are trying to get into a rhythm over the first few games of the season. So, and then niggas are not practicing like that. So,
yeah,
I think they just benched Will Levis.
Yeah, I think Will Levis had got hurt last time I saw
him. He got hurt, I thought.
Yeah, he got re-injured.
Oh.
Yeah. But going off of, these young rookie quarterbacks, first I'll go into Jayden Daniels. He had a stat where like his completion percentage is at like 82, in like the first 4 weeks, and that's like the best in NFL history. So props to him on that one. I've loved what I've been seeing from Jay Daniels has been playing very confident and potent, and I'm liking the fact that him and Dan Quinn, they're doing all this with not such a good team, and to see that they're number one in the NFC East, a team with the Eagles and the Cowboys. I mean that shows his potential, and going off of Caleb Williams, I'm liking what I'm seeing. He's definitely picking up, and he's just having a rookie season, and there's nothing wrong with that. And comparing Caleb Williams and Bryce Young, the reason why you can believe in Caleb Williams more is because he's confident. Like you look at Bryce Young, his confidence is shot like badly. Even though he's not, he still has stuff he's got to work on. His confidence is just not there. I know he had that stuff with the girl. Tyrese Maxey took his girl. This and that.
The hell?
Tyrese Maxey stole his girl.
Let's not get into details. Just keep going.
Yeah, but
hey man, that can hurt you more.
That can hurt you. That can hurt you. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from Caleb Williams. He's definitely improving. But for Bryce Young, hopefully he can, go to a team that, doesn't mind having him, because I can definitely see that organization doesn't really want him except for the head coach, because it wasn't even the head coach who decided to bench him. It was like GM and the owners. So you can definitely see they kind of just gave up on him. But then again, you're throwing this guy into a team where you've given up Christian McCaffrey, Brian Burns. You've given up all these players, but you got nothing in return. And you're throwing them into a team with a bad O-line. They got nothing else. So I don't know what you expect this dude to do. Like, he's not Jesus. I mean, like, you throw any of these young quarterbacks in there, they're not going to succeed in a team like that because it's not built to help them succeed. So when you got a great coach that can help a quarterback develop, and you got guys that believe in him, then you're going to see things like Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams. But like I said, props to Jayden Daniels. And let's see, what are one of these other games? Oh, Bo Nix and the Jets.
Can we talk about who did you bring up first? Can we talk about Jayden Daniels? We finished the conversation.
Yeah.
I want to make this one point. If he's can you turn the TV down? It's kind of distracting me a little bit. But last point I want to say about Jayden Daniels is that, yes, he does look confident, but like I was saying, he's in a good situation. Dude, when you have a clean pocket like that and you're not getting any pressure, like none at all, it's easy to be confident when you know that you have protection. And you can just go through your reads and niggas are going to be open. Because when you have protection, that means what? You have time. You have time to make decisions. So, yeah, it's looking seamless for Jayden Daniels. He really got blessed and went to a good situation. But I want to ask niggas this. If he was drafted number 1, do niggas think he would have the same success? And people say yes. Off of what? Like, what are you basing that off of? Like, when people make these types of statements, I think they need to just we need to clarify and we need to break down why. Like, has Jayden Daniels been great? Yes, but we need to break down why. He's had a lot of things that are good for him, that are lined up great for him. We just talked about situations, talked about Bryce Young. Like, niggas have good situations. If they're competent, they can operate well in those situations. Like, Jayden Daniels has a great arm, and he has legs. You get protection. I mean, it's simple. 2 + 2 = 4. Very, very simple. So it's understandable to me why he's having success. Now, I think niggas is paying attention to the completion percentage, 80% complete. That's great. He's accurate. But he does have clean pocket. And even though these guys, like we talk about, they've had there are not that many names at the receiver position. These guys are getting open. He's hitting them. You feel what I'm saying? So it makes sense why he's doing well. Am I surprised? No, he was talented coming out. Some niggas were saying, not the common consensus, but I remember going into the draft. You know how it is when you have a clear consensus number 1 overall pick. and the niggas is trying to give explanation for why the second guy who's been the clear second guy should be number one. There was a lot of niggas making that on television, on social media. Jayden Daniels was the Heisman winner, so he's not a bum. He has talent. He's a special talent. But was I surprised? No. I think more niggas is fixated on the battle between him and Caleb Williams, but we have to take into account that the situations are different. And I do think that for Jayden Daniels, his style and what he wants to do and what he's asked to do is going to be more of a learning curve from Caleb Williams because he has to get over that fact of, and I think he slowly but surely is, I have to be the reason why we win. And it's like, no, you just need to be a reason for why you win, which is some games not turning the football over. Like he had critical mistakes and critical turnovers in a lot of those games because he's trying to do too much. You know what I'm saying? If you're not getting good O-line protection, get rid of the ball quickly. You know what I'm saying? Stop taking unnecessary sacks. You're not as great of an athlete as you think that you are. That was something that Baker Mayfield had to learn when he was in Cleveland. Was that, like I heard Rex Ryan say it. He was like, they had a terrible game. Baker Mayfield was trying to take off and he was getting sacked. He was like, look, dude, you are the quarterback. You are one of the slowest guys on that field when you take off with it. So, so Caleb Williams, he's not Baker Mayfield slow, but you have to learn what you can do and what you can't do. Jayden Daniels, he has superb legs. You know what I'm saying? That's evident. That was one of his strengths in college. Caleb Williams, yeah, he can move around, he can run around, but mobility is not his strength. His strength is his arm. His strength is his arm talent. That's his strength. So you gotta find out what you're good at and then continue to build on that. But in the league with the best athletes in the world, niggas talk about the NBA. Football players are probably the best athletes in the world. So as a quarterback, 99% of the quarterbacks are average to mediocre to bad athletes. So Caleb Williams, just because you may be a good athlete for a quarterback, does not make you a good athlete in terms of football. Now Jayden Daniels, he's a superb athlete. He's a superb athlete. Lamar Jackson, those types of guys. Caleb Williams is not. He needs to continue to operate in the pocket. I know a lot of niggas, CJ, a lot of his concerns was about, him operating in the pocket. Like, yeah, he could be off platform. He could, scramble, move without, on the run, that type of thing. But how can you operate in the pocket? Because I say this all the time. As a quarterback, you win games in the pocket. You win playoff games in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're just dynamic like a Lamar Jackson. Though Lamar hasn't had the playoff success. But that's how you're going to win football games. I think he's learning that. I think when you have that, you got to get over that bar of being that number one overall pick. That's really the biggest thing, honestly. Figure out what your limitations are right now. And then, as you get more comfortable, as you get more understanding of the game, he will get more, we'll see a lot of that flash shit. But I think that we saw what the low is. I think we're only going to continue to go up. But as CJ said, we're not going to see it in the stats right away. It's going to kind of take some time for us to get to the point where, and it may not even be the season, but I do think that defense is really, really good. And coaching could really take this team somewhere. Even though that division is getting kind of tough, coaching can take this team somewhere. But I don't know if they have it. And I don't know if the O-line can hold up by the end of the year. But we can move into the next quarterback. Who we got, Bo Nix?
Yeah, but one more thing about Caleb Williams. I kind of talked to my pops about this the other day. My biggest thing with Caleb Williams is, like, as of now, like, as soon as he came in the league, he's trying to play like a generational talent. Like, you see it in his throws, and he's trying to, be like, yeah, I'm gonna put y'all on my back, this and that. He's trying to go out there and look like a generational talent off rip when there's nothing wrong with you playing like a rookie, because the O-line isn't good. So, and you can't outrun these grown men. These are 6'5", 6'6" dudes, and these D linemen now, they're running like 4.3s. So you're not finna outrun them. And then he's throwing these sidearm throws like Mahomes, and he's trying to force things in small areas. There's nothing wrong with just, I think, what'll be better for him and beneficial for him for the rest of this season is, kind of playing it safe how, CJ Stroud did last year. I think that'll be, better for him. There's still nothing wrong with rolling out in the pocket, from time to time, but, just don't force everything and try and go out there and play like you're a generational talent already. There's nothing wrong with making rookie mistakes because you're a rookie. Forget what the media says. Just play your game. He's not going to lose confidence. He's still going, he's still and he's been, the number one guy, since middle school, high school, college. So confidence is there. But yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, we can go ahead and go into Bo Nix though.
Yeah, Bo Nix. I have to get a read on the numbers again. And before we get into Bo Nix, I got to address Blaine Cole's comment. Yeah, we talked about. He said we was late to the show. Have y'all talked about Lamar? Yeah, we talked about Lamar early in the shows. You can go rewind to that. Lamar had a really fantastic game, and he played his role, which was really just dominate the run game and make passes off the play action or when it's open. I think the Buffalo Bills didn't really give much. What's the word? Like, I don't know. I don't think that defense was really respectable that night. So Lamar had himself really clean, and Lamar's had himself really 2 back-to-back clean games. So Lamar's looked really good. But Bo Nix, man, I have to get a read on the numbers again. I think he had 62 yards passing.
Yep.
They won that game because of.
I think that it was the lowest amount of yards with that amount of attempts in NFL history or in the Super Bowl era.
So in the first half, he was like he was like 7 of 15 for -7 yards. And here's my problem with Bo Nix. And I never thought Bo Nix was a really amazing prospect coming out of Oregon, which is crazy because his last year at Oregon, the motherfucker old as shit. He's like 24. His last year at Oregon, he had 45 TDs and three interceptions, which is like exceptional, but it's like doesn't really wow me as a prospect. Bo Nix, because I don't even know if I should say I don't even know if I should blame Sean Payton. I just don't think Bo Nix is a really good quarterback. And Broncos fans were telling me coming into the year that they had their guy. Bo Nix was their guy. I heard that on Twitter a lot, which was
bro, folks were calling him Vanilla Vic. I remember in college people were saying better than Justin Herbert. Like, dog, come on now.
Are you saying that because Herbert went to Oregon? I thought Herbert was a better prospect though in Oregon.
Nah, he was.
Herbert had the arm, the arm talent. Like Herbert was a way better prospect than Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is one of those. He's another one of those situations where I really didn't watch that much Bo Nix tape. I remember when they played. First of all, Oregon is that's a great program. So he had a lot of talent on his team. I remember and then that home crowd. There was another thing is that like his numbers home and on the road, it was very, very notable the drop off between home and on the road because Oregon, they're known for like their crowd. Their crowd is brazy, and I remember watching them play Colorado, and he was scrambling doing all that. That shit is not going to work in the pros because, like I said, you got to take that mobility. And like we talking about Caleb Williams, and that shit is going down by like at least 2 to 3 steps. You feel what I'm saying? So now it's about what can you do operating in the pocket. And does he have a great arm?
No.
And does he go through his progressions? Does he go through his progressions and make great reads?
I just think he's short fishes and –
he is short because he don't have the arm talent.
There's really not much wrong with that if the scheming is correct.
More talent on the outside. They don't. I mean, you got Cortland.
They got Sutton. They got Sutton, but you got Sutton's like Coleman from Buffalo. You got to throw him the ball a certain type of way on the outside because he's not really going to create that much separation. But yeah, Bo Nix is, and it's kind of bad because his team is 2-2, and niggas gonna look at it like him and Caleb Williams are doing good because the team records are pretty straight, but he's just not good. I don't really want to put too much stake in this game because the weather was bad. Like we saw how it affected Aaron Rodgers, but I thought Aaron Rodgers had an okay game until the end. The ending was pretty bad. Aaron Rodgers did not feel comfortable in the pocket. And he kind of rushed a lot of his throws that he usually makes, and he wasn't on the court with his teammates. And when Aaron Rodgers isn't on the court with his teammates, he starts pouting a lot. So you'll notice it. Like he's low-key like LeBron. Like he just starts pouting. So like he just gets mad as shit.
James of football.
Like he's been doing that since Devontae Adams left, Green Bay. So
especially because he's older now, he's 40, so those guys are a lot younger than him. He just reminds me of like one of those old people in the nursing home. Like they're just intolerable and they're just like really they get constipated really quickly because it's like their patience is like this. So
Yeah.
if you don't do and Aaron Rodgers, he's high IQ. He also thinks he's the smartest person in the room. So if you can't get on his wavelength, then he's gonna think you're incompetent and he cannot take you seriously. So
Yeah.
So I think that's a big difference between him and Brady. A lot of it is intangibly, leadership wise. Like Brady, if Brady is not performing well, or if his teammates are not performing well, he'll get on to guys. Aaron Rodgers won't do that. He'll shut down. And in football, you can't really have that. You need in those moments, you don't need to be yelling at your teammates like Brady, but you need to be vocal. You need to be verbal. He's not at all. He'll just shut down. So what does that mean? Coaching has to be great. And we all know the coaching is piss poor at best.
Yeah, and that's their
offense coordinator.
That's honestly their biggest problem, in my opinion. That's why I don't think they're going to win anything, which is kind of sad because many people had this division being really good.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, many people had the Jets being contenders, so like they were going to win the division because many people thought Buffalo was going to regress. Even though I think if you're going to have Josh Allen on the team, you kind of guarantee 12 wins,
exactly
11, 12 wins, in my opinion. Like for any roster you give him.
Especially because he's gonna beat up on those guys in the division.
Yeah. He's gonna own the Dolphins. He's gonna beat the Patriots and Jets. So, the Jets the Jets is kind of the only team he struggles with for some reason.
Yeah, he'll lose like one game that
they'll split
against one of those teams.
Yeah, he'll split with the Jets, and he lost one fluke game to Matt Jones. But I'm not giving that shit any weight because he's bad. But Yeah, the coaching, like Robert Saleh,
I can't take him serious.
I don't think he's a good coach. Aaron Rodgers literally in the game before, like last week, I think he threw a TD and Adam Saleh got in his face and he was like, yeah. And then Aaron Rodgers, I think he pushed Rodgers and then Rodgers was like, hey man, calm down. It's like the beginning of the game. And that's kind of like it gives me Nick Sirianni, because Nick Sirianni, I don't think he has the mental fortitude to be a real great coach.
I can't wait to talk about that fucking team.
Actually, we might get to them next because
I got to wrap up.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up this rookie debate. Which, Bo Nix is not a good prospect in my opinion. Caleb Williams, I think, is a really good prospect. Caleb Williams, in my opinion, I think, and I'm gonna go over this real quick. I think I may have had him quarterback 2 or 3. I don't remember.
You had him at 2. You said Drake May was the best quarterback coming out of that draft class.
Did I have Daniels over him?
You had Drake May. You had Drake May as number 1.
No. I know I had May over him, but then I have Daniels.
You had Caleb Williams next.
Okay, I had Caleb Williams. Okay, that was kind of I thought both of those guys were gonna be good anyway. Drake May, I think, has probably the most upside, but Drake May has also the lowest floor.
Yeah, he just needs a coach who actually doesn't mind playing him.
Well, he's gonna get his chance next year.
Yeah,
they got to beef up their offensive line. The offensive line is atrocious, so they can't be having them get killed out the way because they had them come in one of the games for Jacoby Brissett and he got killed. He got sacked 3 times on one drive. It was bad, and he was 4 of 8, so it wasn't like he was super bad throwing the football. But you just can't have him out there now. Let's give it 1 year. But we're gonna transition because I don't think y'all have much to say about Bo Nix. I think he's just not a good prospect.
Just mid.
Y'all got anything else to say about him? He's just mid.
Nah, he doesn't deserve anything else.
I think his potential is
commercial.
I think his potential is top 18, top 17 quarterback in the league.
That's a ceiling.
That's a ceiling. That's starter, just starter level.
Yeah, competent.
Average starter.
Average starter in my opinion. You got to be real tricky with that placement because then you start talking about the Kyler Murrays, the Geno Smiths, and I don't know if he get there.
Nah, he ain't.
I don't know if he get there.
I ain't trying to get sidetracked. Kyler Murray, it's like nigga got so much damn talent, man. It's
he has so much. I mean, he's
so up and down with it.
It goes to something that he's lacking intangibly. I don't really know. I don't really know if he wants to be niggas can say they want to be great, but I don't really know if he wants to put into work to be great.
And I think video games.
that he on them video games because remember they put that clause in his contract that he had to watch a certain amount of film.
Yeah.
That told me that you're not dedicated to your craft, but also that franchise is inept as well, and they have bad defense, but they're one of the more exciting teams when they're rolling. They're exciting to watch. But we can move on to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, man, the Philadelphia Eagles lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 16-33. Now we know, every time the Eagles, Jalen Hurts plays the Bucks, they get, mollywopped. Hey, your knees on? Oh, okay. So yeah, we all know every time the Bucks play the Eagles, Jalen Hurts is getting mollywopped. But I mean, I was just so frustrated watching this game, and it just like Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts they just continue to piss me off. Like Nick Sirianni, I'm gonna start with you, sir. Do you not realize that your best player on the field is not the one that's that's taking the ball? Jalen Hurts. It's not Jalen Hurts. It's Saquon Barkley. Because if we're being honest, the only reason Jalen Hurts is, when they won that game, when AJ Brown was out and Devontae Smith had got out, the only reason Jalen Hurts didn't look bad is because Dallas Goedert saved him and Saquon Barkley saved him. Like Saquon Barkley is the best player on this team. We've seen that. He'll make a big play, but then, Nick Sirianni says, you don't deserve that reward. I'm going to just, throw in Kenneth Gainwell or something, let him finish off. Like, I don't see what it is, because even after that big run that gave them that touchdown that put them back in the game, Nick Sirianni, not only did he not let Saquon score that touchdown, he didn't really give him the ball after that. Like, he wasn't even in a lot of times in the game. And I don't see why, because Jalen Hurts, he either would throw interception or turn the ball over. He's literally a turnover machine. Like, this dude is just living off the PR of that Super Bowl run. And I mean, it's just piss poor. And that deep, I'm just so frustrated. CJ Gardner-Johnson, like, when you talk about top worst players in the league, he needs to be the front runner. The worst corner, the worst DB in the league. I mean, he talks so much trash just to get a touchdown scored on him every game. He's literally had a touchdown scored on him in the first 4 games. Like, dog, you do not have anything else to say. You talk so much. You're all bark, no bite. All bark, no bite. You talk all this smack, and you give up a touchdown. And then every time after, a touchdown is given up on him, he's looking around at the refs like, are y'all not going to call this? Dog, you just got beat. You're trash. You're sorry. The defense already, not that great. The secondary is not that great except for Darius Slay. I mean, that team is I'm just so disappointed in that team. I was like, maybe they'll have a bounce back season, last year, so-called hurt and stuff and all this. And, tension between Sirianni and Hurst, it didn't look good. It still doesn't look good. Right now, they look like a divorced couple. Like, I mean, you saw what he was saying in the press conference after the game. We have our moments. Like, dog, both of those two are just cancerous to this team right now. And, I had a lot of faith in Jalen Hurts, but I mean, he's just been so disappointing. And Nick Sirianni, he just needs to be fired as a coach. Like, he's not a good coach at all. He needs to be fired. I can't stand him anymore. And if Saquon Barkley, like, if the Eagles keep doing him like this, I'd leave. Honestly, like, I know he wants to be, on a Super Bowl contending team, but the Eagles, they're not finna give him there. Like, they're not. Yeah, man. That's what I gotta say, man.
All right, I've been waiting on this shit all day. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna take my beanie off on this one. How I'm gonna start with I don't even really want to talk about Nick Sirianni. It's kind of irrelevant because niggas like Jalen Hurts, so they're gonna make excuses for him, and Sirianni's gonna actually get a lot of the criticism for the remainder of the week and probably over the course of the season. But we need to have a conversation about Jalen Hurts. After they won the Super Bowl, I was one of those niggas that say, you go ahead and pay Jalen Hurts. He's gonna be great. A lot of niggas said that he outplayed Patrick Mahomes. I think not in the Super Bowl, but he was phenomenal. And I was like, you can win a Super Bowl potentially with this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to acknowledge that I was wrong. I was wrong about Jalen Hurts. In my opinion, the Super Bowl year was the anomaly. And we have data at this point to back that. Last 20 games of the season, Jalen Hurts has 27 turnovers. 27 turnovers, 20 games. Like, that's atrocious. That is really, really bad. And the problem with him is that he got paid $200+ million. If I'm paying my quarterback $200+ million, what am I saying? I'm saying that you're the face of my franchise. I'm saying that you are going to be the force multiplier, as Cam Newton would say. You are going to be the reason why we win. But with Jalen Hurts, literally everything has to be perfect. He has to have the best O-line in football so that they can do the tush push, because he's going to get half of his touchdowns off of that. He has to have the best O-line in football. Another thing with that tush push, when they were operating at peak level efficiency, basically they were playing with 4 downs, and they really only had to get 7 to 8 yards, because if you get 3rd and 2.5, they're getting a first down. So you're playing with that. Perfect. You have a bunch of weapons. Dallas Goedert, your ultimate security blanket. A.J. Brown, a top receiver. Devontae Smith, a top second option. And then they had an elite pass rush. So you have a great team. Jalen Hurts, in order for him to be good, and not even talking about now you're talking about being great. In order for him to be good, everything has to be perfect. And what does that mean? That means that he is not good. They overpaid him. Overpaid for him. And I gotta give some props to Jalen Hurts. You know, you take that opportunity, you maximize off of, you get your team to the Super Bowl, you make sure you get your money. Because if he would have waited and he would have went through the season like last year, 2023, I promise you the Eagles would have been like, okay, we need to take a step back and really see if this is the guy or not. And they wouldn't have gave him that bag. And the way that he's playing and how I think that he'll play off the remainder of the season, it will not be good for him. Jalen Hurts is not that guy. And one thing that was making me kind of think that Jalen Hurts could potentially be one of the top quarterbacks after they went to Super Bowl was his leadership, his intangibles. How, you know, I was kind of getting enamored by the post game press conferences.
It was moving you.
And it was moving me. It was moving me. The quotes, the quotable. Y'all saw the TikToks, all the
oh my god,
the clips, like him in the
stuff was inspirational.
It was inspirational. I was like, okay, this is the
niggas
guy.
Was on the Lynn Sandy run with the clips.
So I was feeding to his bullshit. But then, starting last year, I'm starting to see a lot of passive aggressive behavior. I'm starting to read in the columns that, you know, him and his coach not on the same page. What you mean you're not on the same page? What do you mean? You are the quarterback of this team. It is your responsibility at all times to be on the same page with the head coach. And I'm hearing that he might not respect the head. Well, if I'm the head coach, I may not respect you, Jalen Hurts. What have you done?
Gonna lose his job then. Because Jalen Hurts is a franchise player.
Well, yeah, I think that Nick Sirianni's job is on the line, and my thing is Jalen Hurts. And do I think Nick Sirianni is good to great? No, I don't. But if Jalen Hurts is supposed to be that guy, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They still have talent, and he is turning over the football way too much. And people have figured out how to play them. They started the season off 10-1 last year. So what was the drop off? Because niggas were saying, well, he was hurt. If you blitz Jalen Hurts, you get pressure on him. He will fold. He will turn the football over. Does he throw a solid deep ball? Yeah, if he got A.J. Brown. If you take that away, then what does he have? He's force-feeding Dallas Goedert. You can't get those guys. He doesn't make good reads. He's not a competent quarterback. And now, like when we talk about when he got drafted in the second round for a reason. Niggas didn't think that he was a starter-level quarterback. And that is what I'm seeing right now. Cinderella story in 2022. Everything was perfect. He had a great team. Best O-line in football. The defense was playing at a really good level all up until the Super Bowl. So, and he had phenomenal weapons. That was also A.J. Brown.
They didn't play any good quarterbacks either.
They didn't play nobody because they had a relatively soft schedule because they did go to the wild card in 2021. They played on a soft schedule because the Cowboys won that division. So after that year, after the 2022 year, you're stepping up in competition. You're stepping up. So they started that year off 10-1, but it was really they really weren't playing a lot of good ball, and they knew they weren't playing good football because they were 10-1, and we were hearing about issues in the locker room. Jalen Hurts saying that, we gotta be better, we gotta do this, we got that. Then I'm hearing in the T columns that, there's some chemistry issues going behind the closed doors. So Jalen Hurts, I'm seeing him kind of deflect with this whole having a beef with Nick Sirianni. I don't like that because as a leader of this team, which he is, especially now that Jason Kelsey is not on the team anymore, he has to take accountability. It's not oh yeah, me and Nick Sirianni have our moments. No, it should be like, no, I need to get on page with Nick Sirianni, together. We're not going to go anywhere unless we're in this together, and we have to lead this team. That's what a leader does. That's what a Patrick Mahomes does. Patrick Mahomes, they're 4-0. He's acknowledging that he hasn't played well because he hasn't played to his expectation, his capabilities. Josh Allen, like Lamar Jackson, these guys take accountability. Joe Burrow, you want to be a great quarterback, Jalen Hurts, you need to step up in your leadership. At least give me that. So those guys will want to play for you, because what happens when you're not a good leader? Niggas don't want to play for you. O-line doesn't want to protect you. Instead of putting in that extra effort to make sure that they get that guy up off of you, now they're just gonna let them go past and then put you on your back. And then when you're on your back and you're looking for your O-line to help you up, niggas ain't helping you up.
It's on some Deshaun Watson type shit.
Could be in the beginning of the season, like that first game, they weren't trying to help Jalen Hurts up.
Because why? Because I can tell in his demeanor. His demeanor has changed since 2022. And I was talking to my mom about this earlier today. It's like I was really fooled by all of the leadership quotes and stuff like that. But guess what? When everything is going good, it's easy to be a leader. When
that shit PR.
It was excellent PR. It's phenomenal. Then he was really kind of feeling himself. He on the GQ commercials, and he in the magazines, and he modeling and stuff. I think it all got to his head a little bit.
That cuto.
Dude, I really do need to bench Tyreek, bro.
Because he needs to lock in. He needs to lock in on what's important. What's important is football. So Jalen Hurts does a lot of talking, but he's not backing it up at all. So as of now, I was off of the bandwagon once they got beat by the Buccaneers last year in the postseason. But I'm completely off of it now. The Philadelphia Eagles will go nowhere because they don't have the quarterback. The quarterback is the Achilles heel.
Oh, I'm like going through.
The defense has been bad. But the offense, the quarterback, he is not putting his team in opportunities to win. And honestly, I can make an argument that they could be, they're 2-2. They can easily be 1-3. Get that first game of the season, I think that the Green Bay Packers really fumbled that game because Jalen, remember, those first two drives by the Philadelphia Eagles, the turnovers, they were basically giving that, they were throwing that game to Green Bay. Please take it. We don't want to win. We're not a serious franchise in Brazil. They didn't even want to be down there. All they did when they went to Brazil was complain about being there. Like, dude, this is football. Like, you're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. So, in my opinion, they could easily be 1-3. Easily. So,
I agree.
That's all I gotta say, man. I'm not sold on Jalen Hurts, and he's honestly been pissing me off with his passive aggressive and his moany, whiny, crybaby-ish. I'm mature. Stop it, nigga. No, you're not.
Yeah, Jason Kelsey retiring definitely is felt in that locker room. Like, it's definitely felt in that locker room without Jason Kelsey in there as a leader. Which is tough to say when your quarterback, one of your highest paid guys is supposed to be your leader. But he's not.
I also don't think that Jalen Hurts up here between the ears, I don't think that he's a lead, because remember, another thing was so special about Jason Kelsey and a great center is that they will point out where like let's say there's a play call. Jalen Hurts, he goes behind the center, and Jason Kelsey is like, no, we need to switch that. Go out. Like, he's doing that at the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. He's audibling out of a lot of shit for Jalen Hurts. Now, when you don't have that, it's on you because you don't have good coaching, you don't have good play calling. So if you are not competent, then what are you gonna do? You're just gonna go through your first read. He's a one-read quarterback. He is. Then that was some of the critique when he was in college. So he just continuing to reprove that. Because what made him so successful in 2022? It was him being the typical dual threat, but his passing wasn't super great. I mean, he improved, but that was because he wasn't good at all. So his passing improved moderately. I think a lot of that has to do with AJ Brown. AJ Brown is an elite receiver. So his deep ball improved. His accuracy on his deep ball improved. AJ Brown is your deep ball threat. But that was it. And then the tush pushes to elevate, boost up the stats a little bit. And they were winning. They were winning. Because people were telling me that he's supposed to be MVP. I was like, oh, for what? And they was telling me, well, because he's won. Okay, great. Now they're not winning. So
Sound like him and Brock Purdy got a lot like now. I'm thinking about it.
Not that Brock Purdy's a better quarterback than
Brock Purdy better quarterback.
Brock Purdy's been
I'm talking about
as far as
your team making you look so good they think you MVP.
But the problem with that is that Brock Purdy. Now I will say that a lot of niggas making these.
I admit you was wrong about Brock Purdy.
Well, was I wrong about him being Tom Brady or being Joe Montana? No. Now, do I think that?
Yeah, Brock Purdy's looking like a good quarterback. He's just not
like good quarterback.
He is a good quarterback.
I mean, they're not winning as much. They're not winning as much as they used to, though. I mean,
yeah, but he's excelled
he's excelled, but he's just not dominant all 4 quarters like he said he was trying to be.
Like, he's not going to be that. I mean, how many players are dominated? I mean, how many NFL quarterbacks are dominant for like all 4 quarters?
I mean, you don't really see that now.
You feel me?
That's kind of just
like maybe. I mean, like probably the top 3, and then Burrow, and then maybe Rodgers. Like, but Rodgers is inconsistent now. So I don't really know if I can say
he's inconsistent because he's at the point where he's not mobile. So if you can't protect him, he's not
he's
going to
liability.
He's going to be a liability. Then he's starting to see ghosts. So like that, I think that's why some of his reads were off, because when he starts getting that pressure, when he gets hit a few times, he starts to see ghosts.
I just think his time is off. And timing is a really big important thing for Rodgers. When building connection and rapport.
That goes to what you were saying about not having rapport with those weapons. You're not having rapport with those young receivers, timing all.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about Lamar Jackson. I thought in the first game, many people were saying Lamar Jackson sold the game, and I was like, he missed some throws, yes, but the main thing that was clear to me and was apparent in me and why the Chiefs came out of that game victorious is that Mahomes got better rapport with his receivers, and Lamar, I think he's going to have to develop that in the postseason. I think, the postseason teams are going to start trying to build down on Derrick Henry. Now they face a soft team like the Buffalo Bills. I think Buffalo Bills is kind of a soft team, like defensively.
That was bad.
Like the niggas in the AFC North, AFC North like the hood of the NFL. So them niggas are always good defensive teams, except for like maybe the Bengals. But the Bengals, they play good against a really good team. So,
y'all want to read some of these comments before we get to our next?
I'm already reading them. Like I'm already in line. I'm kind of
what they're talking about.
Read them out loud. What we got?
All right, I'm gonna go back up to when Mr. Blaine said Kyler Murray is even more impressive being an NFL quarterback under 6 feet. And I think that's
impressive. Yeah, that's what I was saying. He has so much talent, and 5'9", 5'10". It's really insane.
Yeah, and I was trying to tell Malachi this when we was in. We was talking about something, bro. I thought we was talking like Bryce Young. I was like, Bryce Young could be a solid quarterback if he just improves his throwing ability. I think the main draw on why Bryce Young was such a highly touted draft pick was that his IQ and all that stuff. And it's like, it's not really anything having to deal with like how well he throws the football or how good of a quarterback he is. It's just like how he reads defense.
Yeah, but I think that with that IQ though, is that if his IQ really is his strong suit, that does take more time to translate than like arm talent, elite athleticism.
But NFL defense is disguised better in college. Like college is kind of easy because many defensive players don't motion. You see some guys like the Baltimore Ravens did a really good job of like motioning guys in and out and confusing the looks for Josh Allen. I still think Josh Allen had a solid game, like passing against them, but they confused the looks, and that of course makes it hard for any quarterback to throw against. So the looks in the NFL are harder. So like you said, that's gonna take time to adjust. But yeah, Kyler Murray, he has been a really good quarterback for the duration of his career, and he was in the MVP contention that one year where they started off like 8-0. Yeah, 2021. So Yeah. All right. The Owl Show says something's going on in Philly. Last season, the Eagles looked like they were going through the motions. There's discontent here. What y'all feel about that?
Man, man, AI show, man. That's what I'm thinking. It's because but when your leadership now, I know especially people like Caleb, they think that the quarterback is overvalued. But in terms of as a player, you can make that argument. But in terms of leading the team, your quarterback and your head coach, the team, they're looking at those two factions. If they're not on the same page and they're also not doing a good job of leading, then the team morale is going to be down. And that means what? Like when we talk about a lot of teams have good talent, but the great teams like the Chiefs and I believe, the Ravens, teams like that, those players want to play for that coach and they want to play for that quarterback. When you got players that don't really care that much about the quarterback and they may not really like him that much, may have some vitriol, some hatred toward them, as well as the head coach, you're not going to have a good team. Like we were talking about, I don't think those guys really like Jalen Hurts. His attitude and his demeanor does not show me good leadership. It shows me a guy that things are not going well. Things are not turning out the way that he thought they would. So now I'm going to start shutting down. And since I built up all of this equity, people think that I'm a good leader. So now I can start pointing the finger at everybody else. And people are going to be like, well, can't be all on Jalen Hurts. What's going on in the locker room? What's going on in the locker room is that he's not on the same path with the head coach. And he's not playing well. It's kind of like, how we talk about diva receivers when they're not playing well and they start to kind of just have bad body language. Jalen Hurts is doing that on the quarterback level. His body language is bad. Like, I'm not seeing any leadership from him at all. None. I'm not seeing him talking to guys on the sideline. If he is, he's complaining. He's just pointing, but he's not doing none of this. He's not doing none of my bad. But it's a lot of his bad. 27 turnovers in the last 20 games.
And for a quarterback who in 2022 had only 6 interceptions.
Yeah.
It's been downhill since then.
You had 15 interceptions last year. Just interceptions. You have 4 already to start the season. Interceptions. That's not even including his fumbles, which is a problem as well. For whatever reason, he's allergic to ball security.
Yeah, he's in that Trevor Lawrence route.
Yeah, he might as well be a mall cop. Just security is just not in his nature. He's just going. He turning that hole over. Like we was calling him. What were we calling him?
Turnover machine.
He's a turnover machine. Like that's just what he is right now. It's bad. Is like he's putting up interception numbers back to what they was doing in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, man. Last year, I don't know. It was just so crazy how they quickly just went all the way from here. Like their stock just went shooting down. It was
but the problem with that,
it's like a locker room issue.
Yeah, but the problem with that was that they started the season off 10-1, and I'm not gonna lie. That's what's so crazy about this because a lot of those games were close games. They were just kind of thugging it out, and I was thinking that they were doing that. They were pulling out those games because the leadership. I was like, Jalen Hurts is just leading these guys to victory, and the team is corralling behind them. And it's like they went from that, and then I forgot who they played after that, but they got dominated. They got destroyed. And
I think it may have been San Fran. I know they played Buffalo. They won that game. They was 10. They was 10
it was San Francisco.
I think they played San Francisco. They
got
those guys.
That's probably the peak of Jalen Hurts' career.
Nigga, that game was such a fluke. Like Jalen Hurts is so good that game, bro.
He was great. They won that game because of him. Because the defense just started regressing. They started getting bad.
Got that game.
Yeah, because Josh Allen lighting them boys up. They started getting bad. But Jalen Hurts, he led those guys to victory through his leadership, his intangibles. And so when they started losing, I was like, well, maybe it's because he's hurt. Because you feel what I'm saying? He wasn't able to be a dual threat. And if he's not a dual threat, he can't be an elite quarterback because he's not a great pocket passer. But just some of the things he was saying and then going into the offseason and just reading in the tea leaves about him and Syria, I'm like, so you got a problem with the coach that got you to the Super Bowl?
Well, they got something that we don't know about.
It's definitely something we don't know about. Like maybe some.
You have any speculation? Like what y'all think? Like what can
maybe
really
it's some? Maybe something Sirianni said. Like maybe Hurts. maybe Hurst was like taking a lot of accountability for the wins, and maybe he made one of those statements like it's not just about the players, it's about coaches too.
Yeah, but there's something that we don't know about over there.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we won't find out till like later, like a while.
Somebody so that nigga get fired. So at the end of the season, we'll find out at the end of the season.
Yeah.
What's some other comments, CJ?
Caden said facts. The AI show, he also said, I think you're essentially right about Hurts. Good quarterback, but overrated.
Do y'all want to go ahead and talk about the potential MVP candidate this year, Sam Darnold?
Yeah, we can talk about him. Sam Darnold's looked like probably the best player in football, which is crazy.
Ooh.
First 4 games.
In the NFC,
I will say this, and I'm not hating. I'm literally not hating. A lot of his throws are open. A lot of his TDs are open, except for that one. Justin Jefferson was really contested.
Well, he has phenomenal. He has some phenomenal weapons, and I think
that's what I'm saying.
They may have Jordan Addison on there. They may have the coach of the year.
Yeah. Like the Minnesota Vikings have always had great weapons, a great receiver core. Like Justin Jefferson commands double teams, which leaves up like Jordan Addison and like pretty much the underneath game. So he's gonna have niggas open. So that's why I'm like thinking it because like he's playing good, but it's like it's not like he's doing anything otherworldly. You feel me?
Getting great protection, but also another thing,
he's
just making the right reads.
Yeah, Hockenson. He hasn't played a game this year yet. He's expected to come back. So then you got that threat. That's where you're gonna get a lot of that. Like you need
those dump offs.
Yeah, or you need a first down. He's gonna be that threat there. So because he's not gonna receive, Jettis is gonna receive doubles. Period. So Addison has definitely stepped up his game a lot. But that was the track even last year.
Fantasy, bro.
Yeah, that was the track even last year. Like last year, he was without Jettis, he was showing that he can be a pretty reliable number 2 option. But yeah, man, when they put that beating on Houston, I was like, okay. Even though I do think we need to have some discussions about Houston, but when they put that beating on Houston, I was like, okay, this may be a serious team because this team, I don't know what it is, man. Maybe it's the defense, or why I think that they have more seriousness than that one Kirk Cousins year when they went. Was that 2022? 2022 they had all those wins.
Yeah, it was 2022.
Yeah, this team was a little bit different than that team.
Well, their defense.
Yeah, I'm interested to see
that
how,
team. That team that year had like the 30th ranked defense.
They allowed Daniel Jones to go haywire on them.
Yeah, like their defense stopped this year.
Daniel Jones got a contract.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Sam Darnold plays in playoffs.
I mean, that's where we're kind of like.
It's gonna be contingent on if he has good protection. He has good protection. That's really what it's gonna be. It's like Sam Darnold. I kind of put him in that boat with like the Jared Goff, or Joe Flacco. Like if they have protection, they're gonna carve you up. Now Joe Flacco, he's kind of in the upper category because if he has, you have to get pressure on Joe Flacco. If you don't, he's gonna pick you apart, limb from limb. But Sam Darnold, he is that prototypical quarterback where if you can protect him, he can be solid. And since he's surrounded by a lot of great talent and great coaching matters in the NFL, not like the NBA. When you're surrounded by great coaching, he's looking elite right now, man.
I like what I'm seeing, definitely. We can go ahead and talk about Texans and the Jaguars. Man, Laramie Tunsil, he does not need to be playing on the Houston Texans by the end of this season. Dog, those penalties.
That's a bit of an over-exaggeration.
Bro, first of all, you wearing red gloves. Like you're gonna get seen for all these holdings and all these penalties. And then you're supposed to be, it's like a veteran tackle. Like, dog, you out here getting all these penalties. Like, it makes no sense. Like, it really does. Because, this Texas team is very well-rounded. They have a very solid defense. They got that wide receiver one, Nico Collins, sneaking in that top 7, sneaking in that top 6, top 7.
That's not what you alluded to the other day.
I had to think about it.
Three.
He gonna be sneaking in my top 5. I agree, but I can't put him in there.
if I don't recall in the group chat, you were saying top 3. You were saying I may need
I
to
said
read
I ain't
more.
said no top 3. I said top 5 to 7. I wasn't gonna put him in no top 3.
Like
Just getting that clear.
neighbors. Well, I say like Jettas, Tyreek when he has a good quarterback.
You said neighbors.
CD. Hey man, neighbors is like top 10, bro. I ain't even gonna lie.
You're top 10 for sure.
Yeah, neighbors.
I
top
thought you
10,
saying
bro.
top 3. I
Chase.
was gonna say,
I thought you were
nah.
in the top 5.
I mean, statistically
gonna
he
say.
is. I mean, statistically he is, but I mean that's because he gets a lot of targets. But Chase,
Yeah.
he can say top 7. I'm a rock.
Yeah.
I will say one
Yeah.
thing: they probably have the best receiving core in the NFL.
No, they do. And then they got Tank Dale, they got Nico Collins, they got Stephon Diggs, and they also got Dalton Schultz, who niggas forget about for some reason. Like he wasn't beastly on the Cowboys. Really, in my opinion, CJ Stroud has no excuse not to have an MVP caliber year. Like he has all these damn weapons. Like
he gets sacked a lot though.
dude,
does get sacked a lot.
he does. But like nigga, if this was Peyton Manning, like this nigga Peyton Manning would have an MVP year. So if
But I
CJ
mean,
Stroud, no.
with
I understand.
Stroud doesn't
No.
take all those big plays. You know, he's not.
That's what he
we were
needs.
talking about the other week. CJ and I talking about the other week. That's my thing with CJ Stroud is that he is a relatively safe quarterback, and that's fine.
He wasn't all safe. You know, this past game he was throwing a lot of.
Well, he had no choice. Like that's the thing. That's what was kind of worrying me a little bit in this game. They're playing against the Jags. Like they're a joke. No disrespect. Like they're bad. They're probably the worst team, one of the worst teams in football, and it's a competitive game. Like, are you kidding me? Defend that, please. If people saying he put up 340 yards, I said the Jags are not good.
Yeah, I give you that, but
I mean,
You get to play them
I
every
gotta put
year.
a lot of that on. You know, I ain't gonna put a lot of it on the Texans defense, but you know, letting Trevor Lawrence.
They only scored 20 points.
Yeah, but Texas defense, you know, letting Trevor Lawrence cook like that. But
he
with
wasn't
the
really
Texans,
he was 18 and 33 for 169 yards. What you mean? Like, they were able to run the football on them, which has been the problem with the team. That was one of the concerns going into the year was the Texans run defense. But Trevor Lawrence wasn't great. 18 to 33 for 169 yards is not great.
Yeah, but a lot of the Texans
345.
Brett
a lot of those Texans penalties is what took them out of getting more points. Like those penalties was really killing them. They were kind of looking like the Cowboys, you know, against the Giants.
Cowboys.
The way refs was just throwing out flags. It was bad. It was very bad. I didn't like what I was seeing.
But that's my thing with us. Well, like CJ Stroud is he a really good quarterback? Yes, but I think I forgot what type of conversation we were having about CJ Stroud the last time. I think it was the week 2 recap. But like I said, it's not that like I need more.
It was something about him being in the playoffs because you were like, if he's playing safe like this in the playoffs, and then it comes to those moments.
No, that's when we were talking about who can outduel Patrick Mahomes. Now, I think one of y'all said CJ Stroud. And I said I don't know because outdueling, there's only 2
niggas that can outduel Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he's a relatively safe quarterback. But my thing is the same argument CJ was making about for Joe Burrow. I think the same applies to CJ Stroud. Like, he has phenomenal weapons on his team.
Yeah. Well, CJ Stroud has more weapons than Joe
he has
Burrow.
more because Stephon Diggs, maybe not last year, but at one point in time, people call him a top 5 receiver, maybe top 3.
He was top 3 2020 and 2022.
Yes, and I'm not gonna call him
He's your number
3,
2.
but he's your number 2
He's your number
right
2
now. And you also have Tank Dell. Like this,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have Joe Mixon in the backfield. Like they basically took Cincinnati's running back. You have so many weapons. Like they had weapons last year. Now it's even tenfold. So yeah, from what I've seen, I don't know, man. I think that he's a really, really good quarterback, but in the postseason, he's gonna have to take strides.
Yeah. Yeah, going back to that nigga, like I can't see him outdoing Mahomes in a playoff setting like at all. Like
Nah,
I don't know, because I think like with Mahomes, if you're gonna face him in the postseason, you have to make the risky plays. You have to,
got you.
and you got to, and you got to, what's the word? Gotta like hit him. You feel me? That's why I think like when Stephon Diggs dropped that ball, that really lost like the Buffalo Bills a lot of momentum because that's one of the plays you got to hit on. That's one of the plays you got to hit on because when you're facing the Chiefs in the postseason, you got to be sharp on every facet of the football game.
Gotta be.
And
But that's what I will say about the difference, in my opinion, between the Bengals and the Texans is that I think that out of all these weapons that we're naming between those teams, I do think that Jamar Chase is the best weapon.
yeah,
And you have to have over the top safety on him at all times. He can hit his head on the goalpost at any time. That deep threat is always there. And Joe Burrow, for the most part, is looking for that. Now he will take the underneath shit, like he will do that. Joe Burrow is looking to push the football down the field when he can. Jamar Chase can hit his head on the goalpost at any time. But yeah, CJ Stroud, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think CJ likes attacking the middle of the field, not necessarily deep ball.
And those guys are running really good routes, so they're open. So it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think with Spags going against Spagnolia, dog, you're gonna really have to be perfect. Like you can't make any mistakes. And
Because the run game probably gonna get shut down.
Oh yeah, Chris Jones gonna be on top of that
Yeah,
for sure.
So you got to strike out on those plays.
Yeah. So, and I don't think that the Texans are as good as people thought they were going to be collectively as a team.
Yeah, now they're overrated. Like I can see them losing Buffalo easily next week.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think that'll be a bad matchup for them. So then you're going. Now the good thing about them is that they're in a shitty division.
Yeah, so they're gonna win out.
They're gonna win out because the Jags have just been a disappointment, and the Colts. Now, I mean, they got Joe Flacco stepping into the fold, but is that enough? And then they played against Joe Flacco before. Because with that defense, the defense is equipped for unless they start utilizing Jonathan Taylor more, they start implementing him, then they can really attack that defense. Because when they played the Browns last year, they didn't have Chubb, so they have a consistent running attack. Then maybe the Colts would be more of a factor than any other team in that division. But yeah, they got it easy. And that's the thing about them is that Trevor Lawrence is just doing this. And so Anthony Richardson, I think we kind of know what he is at this point. So we know he's not
a good quarterback.
not a good quarterback. So, and then you have the Titans, which they failed. They flopped at the quarterback position as well. So the Texans are going to be the best team in that division probably for a long time. So when you got that, when you know that you can kind of like when we talk about the Cowboys, you can count those. They're going to get those victories. They're going to beat up on those teams in that division. So when you got that, you always got a good shot. It's harder for the teams like Cincinnati. So you got a tough ass division that you got to get through. Or I do think that the Chiefs, their division is going to pick up a little bit because the Chargers are going to be more of a factor. But now that we kind of know what these teams are in the AFC, there really aren't that many world beaters. We know that it's really a 3-man race, in my opinion. It's the Chiefs, Bills, and the Ravens. And then you have a frisky Bengals team, and you got a frisky. Well, you got the Texans that are going to win their division. But I don't fear the Texans.
You fear the Bengals more than the Texans, but the Texans have an easier road of getting to the playoffs. Because
what I'm seeing with the Bengals is that the offense is not a problem. I think they need to get healthy on defense, but I think that this year is not going to be that much of a good year for them. I think that those other teams just better hope that they kind of like struggle. And it's harder for them to get into the playoffs because if they are in the playoffs, they can be dangerous. But I think that the defense is taking a major step back. I think it's time to tutilize that defense. If they can, that's the problem with with teams that don't have good head coaches. is that like I don't think Zach Taylor's a good head coach, but I trust Lou Anarumo on the defensive coordinator. I trust him a lot. He's a good DC. But those like especially those DBs in Cincinnati and
Oh yeah, bro, them nuts are tough.
that front line, they need to be retooling for sure. I think that they've kind of overstayed their welcome, the Cincinnati Bengals defense. But the offense, I like the new weapons. Like they got Gesicki, tight end spot. We know that T. Higgins is gonna be gone. But I think that they'll probably end up drafting another receiver. And they got that number 80. He's solid.
His name's like it starts with an I.
Like Puka Nakua cousin or something, but they got him. He's solid. And he's been in the red zone. He's been on point. He got toe tap. Like he's been impressing me a good amount. He's been They say that he's been working on his game. So and then with Burrow, like she just said, was mediocre to bad in the first game, but outside of that, he's been playing some good ball. He practically would have had to play a perfect game to beat the Commanders. He played pretty good last game, but the offense is not a problem. It's really the defense. But if I'm the Chiefs, I think it's going to be kind of light for them. I think that Baltimore, if they play the way that they're supposed to play, they're the challenge. I think that the Bills, Josh Allen always plays Patrick tough, but I think that they need somebody on the outside on the Bills to take that extra step, man. Like, is it going to be Coleman?
Okay, so I like Coleman on the outside. I think they do need another guy that can beat their man because Coleman doesn't really beat his man. It's just contested catch. And then Shakir can beat his man, but you're going to line up Shakir in the slide for the most part. So I think
smaller.
Yeah, so I think they need another guy. And there's some guys. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, like Josh Allen throwing the Tay like man, that shit sounds like a fever dream. It sounds like a fever dream, but
it's a pipe dream.
Yeah, but I do think they need another guy. And
I'm just trying to get Tay out of that situation, man.
And then my thing is like I still think the Kansas City Chiefs will like just like tear that defense up in the postseason. Like I don't know that team on the Buffalo Bills and Sean McDermott, which I think Sean McDermott is kind of this may be his last year, or his last straw because it's too much of the same stuff. You feel me? God damn, I tried throwing down the run.
Well, I think if they win a good amount of games, I think that he might be safe because I don't think that people expected them to even be good this year.
Yeah, but it's like that.
No.
Yeah, I understand that, but like they're still running into the same problem. So it's like, either you keep on running to the same problem or you change something. And it's like Michael Jordan and the Bulls, like they kept on running into like the Detroit Pistons. I'm not gonna say they're gonna like blow the Chiefs out next time, like how the Bulls did in '91, but like they keep on running to this team and like they can't give over the hump. So got to make a change. And I'm looking at this. This might be his last year, man. And then they also got to get rid of Tyler Bass. Like he's out of there. Like missing that field goal, and like with these kickers nowadays, anything 40 is kind of like easy for them. Like that's easy for like Brandon Aubrey.
Yeah, niggas is kicking it from 70.
Yeah, and then he missed. And he missed the field goal last year.
He did.
So yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I consider moving on from him. And it's no disrespect. I think Bass has been pretty good for a good portion of his career, but hey man, niggas is get washed. Yeah, it's time to move on. So
I mean that nigga up there in Baltimore washed.
Yeah, man, he's through. He's
finished. Doing all that damn talking.
Chiefs put a curse on him.
Hell yeah. Can't mess with the Swifties and Patrick Mahomes and them.
That brother sold my fantasy team so much. He has sold my fantasy team.
Guess who I picked up smartly? Aubrey. I saw what I was seeing last year. I was like, this nigga, he's elite.
I picked up Koo, young Koo.
Oh, cool. Yeah, with the Falcons. Yeah.
But like
I should have got Fairbairn. That's why I should have got Fairbairn.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think like Atlanta, they don't really be kicking it as much. So don't know if I like that, but Koo is really good though. But Brandon Aubrey's the best in the league,
Definitely.
for sure.
The Cowboys gonna kick that hole, especially because their offense is not
The offense is so
Not
one-dimensional.
great.
It's just
CeeDee
Dak
Lamb.
step back, throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb, or Dak hit his tight ends. And the Cowboys don't have a good threat on the outside.
Brandon Cooks is he's small and he's kind of been inconsistent. Like he was good. Which game was that? I think the first game he was pretty good, but he's older. He's been in the league a minute. Like he was.
I mean, that nigga was playing with Drew Brees. That nigga was playing with Drew Brees. So
He played with Drew Brees, Tom Brady. Not that
Because
Prescott.
if I'm defenses defending the Dallas Cowboys, I'm doubling CeeDee Lamb every time because for one, I think he had a good game last week because he was kind of getting some flack in the media. But I don't think that those problems are going to dissipate. The Giants are just not good. I see that he's going to get frustrated more throughout the course of this season because he's not going to have a breakout season because he's the only option on that team offensively. So they're going to continue doubling him, and he's not going to. I mean, he's not Calvin Johnson, so he is going to get more frustrated over the course of that season. And what does that mean? Low morale, because we all know that they got some. Man, we see the Cowboy fans. Y'all lucky tonight, man, because y'all didn't play today. I mean, y'all didn't play yesterday. Y'all played on Thursday. Because I could have kind of gotten to y'all a little bit, man. Because first of all, Michael Parsons, he's going to be out for a little bit. Lawrence is going to be out for a good minute. I think they said 2 months.
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks.
So,
yeah,
that team is. It's not pretty. It's not pretty in it over there, man. Dallas, man.
Hey man, next week we got the Texans versus the Bills. Stroud versus Josh Allen. And we got the Ravens versus the Bengals.
Hey man, Stroud gonna have to prove me something.
That's some good ball right there. And then the Texans they play the Chiefs the 21st of December.
Oh, they finna lose 2 straight. Dang, they gonna be 3. They're gonna be 500. They're gonna be 500 about week 7. But the good thing about them is that their division is bad. So I can honestly see the Texans. They won 10 games last year, right?
Yeah.
I can see them repeating that 10-7.
But like that's kind of a step back in my opinion.
It is, but it is, but I didn't see them taking this leap. I really thought that they were gonna be better than what they've shown me so far. But when people were saying that they're gonna be title contenders, they're gonna be in the Super Bowl, I did not see that at all. I think people just got excited with CJ Stroud, which it's understandable to be excited, but I didn't necessarily see flaws. And I didn't see flaws in his game, but I didn't see him taking this extra step. Like I could honestly see CJ Stroud just being what he's been for his career, and that would be fine. But when you have a guy that has a great rookie of the year like he did, he basically played on the level of a top 7-8 quarterback last year. So to expect for him to have another step to take, I mean, what are we going to see? And he has great talent around him. So those guys are going to get contracts soon, right? Like the Nico Collins, Tank, those guys are going to get money. It's going to be a similar situation to Cincinnati. So what extra level is he going to get to? Is he going to go from top 7 to top 3? I think that's a stretch. So, yeah, I think that the team can improve. But the good thing is that I think they do have a really good coach. I think D'Amico is a really good coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a lot of these former NFL players that are smart when it comes to the game. Like they're actually like very good coaches. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Dan Campbell, D'Amico Ryan. Mike Vrabel was good at for a certain period of time. But I mean, I think we should see more of those. Former players that are actually competent when it comes to the game of football.
It's crazy because NFL players, they're pretty good coaches after they retire. But NBA guys is pretty terrible.
Because NBA guys, football is the ultimate team game. So these NBA guys, they're very selfish and they're very, they're individual players because it's really all about what you do. Like how we was kind of having that debate about guys, Hall of Famers. The NBA it's all about statistical output. It's all about what you do as an individual. Football, especially from a quarterback standpoint, you have to have more impact on winning. And I do think that in my opinion, football, like to be a great football player, like high level, it is a little bit more cerebral than people think. So like D'Amico was a defensive guy, so like his football IQ to be great, I think it takes a lot more than if you're a basketball player. If you're a phenomenal athlete, you can be a good player. But those football guys, like it's the ultimate team game. It's the best athletes on the face of the planet. It's going to take a lot more than you just being a good athlete. It does take a lot up here. So I think that's why, like, NFL athlete, professional NFL, like they can probably translate over to being a good coach, where it's a little bit more difficult for the NBA player who averaged 25 points for his career.
Yeah.
Because it's so much is just about what you can do, what your impact is on the game. Because one player can just have crazy impact. Like I think LeBron James would be a terrible coach because his whole career just hinging on him just being like everything's centered around him. Him being the primary focus. So he would not be a good coach because nobody is going to be on your level, and you have to coach around your players, around your talent. And I think that those guys get frustrated very quick. Like Shannon Sharp, I always hear him talk about like patience. He doesn't have the patience to coach. Most of those NBA guys wouldn't have the patience. So
Yeah.
I think that's why you probably don't see as many quarterbacks coaching though, because quarterbacks are kind of like NBA players with their level of impact and their egos. I think that these other guys, like you see a lot of like defensive players, linebackers, offensive linemen, like it's because they're a part of a unit. So they're really
because they have to know what everybody else's job is on the field. They got to know what the DB's doing, what the D line's doing, what the safety's doing. So
yeah, they got to understand team concept.
Yeah, that's why they excel better as head coaches. That's why a lot of defense players excel as better coaches because they got to know what everybody's doing. When it comes to the quarterback, they're just conducting what you do. They're not really.
I'm ready for the food out there.
Part of a unit, yeah.
Yeah,
Great point. Yeah,
what you have to do.
You got certain niggas, certain quarterbacks, niggas got their own offense.
Yeah, like I don't think a lot of quarterbacks want to be coached anyways. Like you don't see Tom Brady want to be a head coach in the NFL
because he knows that he knows that his standard, he doesn't have the patience. It's kind of like the NBA guys. Like Michael Jordan would never be a coach. He didn't have the patience. He didn't have the tolerance. Tom Brady, listen to him when he was talking about Baker Mayfield. Like it's just a little bit different, especially with how these guys are now. I hate to be that generational thing, but it is very different from previous generations. Like Baker Mayfield said, he said, these guys, they want to have fun, they have a good time. The focus is really not on winning with certain teams, unless you're like the Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens. Like there are a lot of bottom feeder franchises that they're really just the franchise is focused on selling tickets, hopefully selling out the arena. And teams are just, trying to have a competent team, a competent record. It's not really about winning Super Bowl. So with Tom Brady would have to basically coach a top team like a Baltimore, something like that. And we all know those types of coaching positions, they don't open up that much, that often.
I can actually see like that being the only team he can actually coach, like Baltimore Ravens.
That's it. That's it.
That's like a good team for him.
It is a good team for him. Hard-nosed football. Tom Brady, Tom Brady has no problem running the football. None. Especially with that type of personnel. Like I can see him coaching that team or like
See, once Harbaugh done, Harbaugh been with them for a minute.
Yeah. And he not going nowhere. Not right now.
Well, Baltimore fans hate Harbaugh. They want him out.
He
on
not
social media.
That's
the
Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are ran differently from a lot of. They don't give a damn. They don't care.
They like
about,
the Miami Heat, bro.
Yeah,
they like New York. They like New York fans. They like New York fans when it comes to New York basketball.
I don't know about that. I think New York. I think the New York Knicks fans are like the Philadelphia Eagles. Their fan base is pretty toxic.
Yeah.
But
I don't think if Harbaugh were to leave or get fired, it'd probably be like if the Ravens missed like the playoffs like 3 times in a row.
That's one thing about the
they
Ravens.
don't like ever do that.
They don't miss the playoffs. But yeah, they are like the Miami Heat of the NFL.
Yeah. That's well. Anything else y'all got? Any other games?
She did tell me about that last week.
Did you guys hear about what Tom Brady said about Baker Mayfield?
No, what'd he say? And when did he say it? He must have said it recently.
He said it yesterday. So Baker Mayfield went on this will be the last thing we talk about. Baker Mayfield went on a podcast, and you know how niggas be when they get on podcast. They just start letting loose. They just start talking. So when you get on that couch, you sit back, you just start talking. Baker Mayfield, especially back in the day, he was a yapper, professional yapper. So they're asking, they were like, what's the difference between, Tom Brady leading, the Bucks and you? He basically said that when Tom Brady was, when he was playing, like a lot of guys felt uncomfortable because Tom held them to a higher standard. So a lot of those guys, they didn't feel comfortable and they felt like, they were stressed. It was a stressful environment. He said when he got to the team, Baker Mayfield talking, when he got to the team really allowed him to be himself and allow guys to have fun. And he was like, guys weren't having fun when Tom Brady was playing. And Tom Brady, when he heard that, he felt some type of way about it. He said, I thought that being stressful was not competing for Super Bowls. He said, I thought that he said, if you want to have fun, he said, I can go. He said, if I want to have fun, he said, I come here to work. He said, if I want to have fun, I can go to Disneyland with my kids.
I went back and did.
That's what he was saying. So niggas were basically saying that it's like polar opposites. You got Baker Mayfield, who is just kind of happy to be in the position that he's in. You got Tom Brady, who eats, sleeps, shits football, and he's all about winning. And apparently, there was some guys that didn't like that, but those guys that didn't like that, they're household names now. They have Super Bowl rings. I don't know who those guys are, but who would they be without Tom Brady, if we're just being honest? And I think that Baker Mayfield, he just kind of got caught up talking a little too much. That's not really something that you say. You're talking about Tom Brady at the end of the day, sir. And then did come down there and win a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. First year, too.
Whoa.
First year. So that's something that's the Buccaneers' peak. And I like Baker Mayfield. I think that he's a really good quarterback, but he's not getting there anytime soon. But I think it just kind of shows the difference in mentality and personality between like Tom Brady is kind of like that
nigga football junkie.
He's a football junkie, but also that type of player is non-existent now. Like Mahomes probably wants.
I don't think Mahomes is even that competitive.
Nah, he's not that competitive. He probably wants to win really bad, but that really is. We're not going to see that again. Not based off of generationally how these guys are from a personality perspective.
Man, I'm really trying to think of somebody who like lives, breathes, eats, shits football. I really can't think of it. Anybody from this era. I don't know. Yeah, I really can't think of anybody because a lot of these guys are too nice too.
Yeah,
like nice. Like Burrow's nice. Like I remember Chris Jones was like, yeah, Burrow. He said Burrow. Yeah, he's like real polite. Like and
I can see Burrow getting sacked and then being like telling Chris Jones like good job, man, good job.
That's what he says. Like, that's what he said. And he said in the I think it was the top 100. He was like yeah, Burrow's nice, and then like it immediately cuts back to him talking about Josh Allen. He was like, yeah, Josh Allen, he just talk shit to you all game. Like he'll just be like he'll just tell your ass get up, motherfucker, after he trucks you or some shit like that. And like I was like, yeah, I mean, not many people like that, but I don't even think Josh is a football junkie. So
no.
I guess this is a bygone of the era, like that 2000 style football, because that is peak quarterback play.
I think people do forget Brady wasn't that Ray Lewis like that era where it was really
got to be tough.
He came into the league during that time, and the rules did change, but he won 3 Super Bowls in that era. So yeah, like Brady, and like Brady, if anybody can talk about the decline of quarterback play, he can. But also Brady might be one of the few guys that we can probably make an argument. Probably lost his family due to his addiction to football. Like can make that argument. That probably hindered his relationship with his wife, with his kids, because his his it's Michael Jordan S, man. It honestly really is. Like his addiction to football. Like he's obsessed. He's obsessed with football. That's
I
why when
mean,
I
it's kind of like all he knows, at that point. Like, I think why Josh Allen and Tom Brady are kind of like the same is because they had something to prove. Like, Tom Brady,
but Josh
Tom
Allen
Brady
is
coming
even
out of
that
Michigan,
good.
he was an underdog. Like coming out of Michigan, he wasn't like all that. Josh Allen, he
the
had to
difference
work
is
his way
that
up.
Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round and Josh
Josh
Allen
Allen
was
was
first round
7.
pick. Yeah, it's really not the same. I think Josh Allen
Yeah,
was
but Josh
receiving a
Allen
lot
still
of,
had work to do. He still had work to do.
but Josh Allen, nobody ever said that Josh Allen wasn't talented. People said Tom Brady wasn't talented. When you're drafted 199th overall, that's people saying that you have no talent. Like that was a big thing with Tom Brady, was that people used to constantly doubt him, even after he had won. They're saying, well, you only won because of the defense. You only won because of coaching. You're not as talented as Peyton Manning. You're not as talented as Aaron Rodgers. Like that was a consistent thing even after he had won. Only thing that people are saying about Josh Allen is that he hasn't won the big one, but he's been going against Mahomes. So that really is kind of a big difference between the two. And another thing with Tom Brady is the fact that even after he had won 5-6 Super Bowls, he still felt like people were doubting him when it was like, Brady, nobody's doubting you. So that type of drive, that type of, ego and determination, yeah, it's really not that comparable. I think Josh Allen, yeah, he's a shit talker. I mean, so is Phillip Rivers. That's kind of like a not comparing them as players, but that type of like attitude. That's kind of what I would put that in the category of. There have been quarterbacks that do that. Maybe not in this era, but there have been quarterbacks that do that. Tom Brady is really on a way different platform with his competitiveness.
Like I can't even think of a Hall of Famer who's like that much in the
You're not a quarterback. I would have to think of like
maybe Jerry Rice.
I think of like Ray Lewis or something, but like Ray Lewis is like,
I can only think of like Ray Lewis or.
Dude, Ray Lewis is like so passionate about football.
Oh my god, dude.
Like, that's like
you kind of say that about Jerry Rice when it comes to winning.
What I was thinking.
Kinda. Because I mean, like,
Maybe.
when Dion came over there, he wasn't having all that fun and all that. He was just like, nah, bro. We just
Yeah, I can see that. I think Tom Brady, and maybe because it's like, we have HD, we have 4K. It's like you can see him on the sideline going off on guys. Like quarterbacks don't really do that at all. Like he will go, and then guys will take it. Like that's the thing. Like these are chill out. These are grown men. These are grown men. Like these are guys like 350 pound, 6'8" offensive linemen. Tom Brady's going off on them in there. They're just sitting there, just listening. Like yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
like that. People not doing that, dog.
I mean, if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't be getting them rings like that.
That's true, man. But I think that's why you have to get a good amount of credit to Belichick, man, because Tom Brady is a microcosm of Bill Belichick. Like I think I heard Teddy Bruschi say that basically what kept players going that were coached by Bill Belichick was the fact that it's basically like taking a wet towel and squeezing all of the water out of that towel until it's dried up. That's basically your talent. Like Bill Belichick is going to get every drop of talent out of you because his focus is winning. He wants to maximize the talent of the player.
Oh my god, dude, I was watching that.
So, yeah, man, Tom Brady. Hey, man.
Oh, Blaine said Big Buckets. I forgot about him. Big Buckets. Yeah, that nigga is like a football junkie.
Oh yeah. Hey, Blaine knows football.
Yeah, he does for sure. I can't
I
lie.
like it.
I still remember watching the Football Life Big Buckets, bro. Like back in the day, dude. A Football Life was such a good program, bro. Like,
he said it's possible that one player can carry an NBA team. The NFL, I don't think so. Well, yeah, but I think that's why like people overvalue the quarterback position so much because in theory, if you do have a great quarterback, he can carry you to an extent, but yeah, you do have to kind of have like
because that term defense wins games actually matters because you can't really if you have a great quarterback but you have a trash defense, giving up all these. It's only a certain amount that you can really do, and then I think the only closest thing to that would be the quarterback position because without a wide receiver or tight end or something, you know what I'm saying. You need the quarterback to get you the ball. If you don't got a good quarterback to get you the ball, you can't win the games.
Yeah, because think about like going back to Cincinnati Bengals with NFL scoring being down. They scored 33 points. I think they punted like they went like
they didn't punt that game. That was like first game without a punt.
They didn't punt that game, and they
since
lost
like 1940, I think.
Yeah, and they lost that football game. So like Jayden was saying, defense does matter because and then what's crazy is that's like as a quarterback, it works in your favor. I think that this is probably the first season that I've ever seen like people like leading shows, leading television shows. Dang, this is the first time
he's on the game, bro.
Oh, but this is the first time I've seen like channels leading television shows like getting on Joe Burrow ass. It's the first time I've seen it like this. Happening. In the first game, understandable, but after that, like I heard Chris Canty.
I'm like, bro, say where it's at.
Let me go with you, bro.
Yeah, like Chris Canty, they when they had lost to Washington, they went 0-3. He was like, "Oh well, it's Joe Burrow's fault." That was like, I was like, if you're just talking about them getting off to a bad start, being 0-3, I get that, but we have to have context. Like in that game, what more did you want to do? Like, were there a few passes that he could have made? Yes, but then you're basically telling him to play a perfect game. And I do think that the quarterback, they get a lot of praise, but when it's bad, they get all the blame as well for the most part. But yeah, one player can't carry a team. It's 22 players on the field. So, because like think about it, we talk about this. Quarterback doesn't have protection. What are they? Going back to that Tampa Bay Kansas City Super Bowl. Mahomes wasn't protected. He was bad. The team was bad. They got the doors blown off. And a lot of people think that he's the GOAT. If Tom Brady can't be protected, he's not going to be great. So, football is the ultimate team game, man. We hit that 2-hour window, though.
Yeah. Y'all got anything else to say? Or y'all want to go ahead and wrap it up?
Wait, well, I think this last question may be a question for CJ because I'm not familiar with this at all. CJ, you familiar with that game?
What's the game?
Cumberland versus Georgia Tech game. Ooh, I remember hearing about that game, bro. I forgot. I looked it up on Wiki, and it was like the highest scoring game of all time. Like I think Georgia Tech put up. It was like well over 100 points or something. Like, Cumberland put up like 0 points.
222 to 0?
Yeah, like and they kept on running up the score. Yeah, I remember looking up that game one time.
Because that shit was like, what the fuck?
Hold on, I'm about to look that up, man.
Dude, that's actually a real game, bro. I guess
I would have forfeited after like 100 points. Not even 100 points, but like,
if I was the ref, I would have stopped the game.
Yeah, I know you get like fined for. Do you get fined for forfeiting, or you just can't do it? Like I would have said, hey, all my players, hey, let's load them buses, let's go.
220. You can't even get that on Madden, dog.
No, you do that, man. You do that, man. You just sweat out.
Yeah, you gotta play real hard team.
That's the most lopsided score in the history of college football, the history of football, man.
That is wild. Doing that in college is wild. That's what makes it even more crazy.
For college, it's like kind of like the games be lopsided.
Well,
the NFL is like worse.
It says it is speculated that the coach named John Heisman, head coach. So I'm assuming that's what the award is named after. So it is. So it says it is speculated that Heisman may have deliberately aimed for a score of exactly 222 points as a numerically significant retaliation to Cumberland's 22. Because the baseball team had beat Georgia Tech earlier that year, 22-0. And it says he insisted on his school scheduling agreement which required Cumberland to pay $3,000, equivalent to $84,000. Georgia Tech, if the football team failed to show, because apparently Georgia Tech, they didn't want to play. I mean, Cumberland didn't want to play Georgia Tech.
Of course.
They had to pay him. They had to pay him 3 bands to get them to play.
Hey.
Well, it said they actually paid him $500, so that's like $14,000. They basically paid him $14,000 to play the game.
Wow.
Because it said this is how the game went. So Cumberland received the opening kick and failed to make a first down. After a punt, the Engineers scored on their first play. Then the Cumberland fumbled on the next play from the line of scrimmage. Georgia Tech returned that fumble for a touchdown.
Dang.
It said then the Bulldogs fumbled again on their next play, and Georgia took it and it took Georgia 2 rushes to score a third touchdown. Then Cumberland lost 9 yards on the next possession. Georgia Tech scored a 4th touchdown on another 2-play drive.
My gosh.
Georgia Tech led 63-0 after the first quarter and 126 at half, 126-0 at halftime.
The lights were too bright. I
guess the lights were so bright that the Cumberland players were blind because they just Blaine says Cumberland was literally trying to pull fans out of the stands and jump in on you.
It's kind of funny.
I made a comeback win in fantasy football. Jameer Gibbs and Dave Montgomery came in.
Oh, dude, them niggas scored like 42 points.
Yeah, I'm finna go ahead and bench DJ Moore. I just can't. I can't.
I mean, Caleb got thrown that hoe. Caleb not throwing him that hoe.
So I ain't no winning. I ain't no winning. I am still undefeated. I am still 4-0.
Dude, I forgot.
Bro, I could have won that game.
Like
I could have won.
Caleb actually sold because he didn't put Njoku on the bench. He kept him starting even though he was out. He was ruled out.
Yeah, like I didn't pay attention to that, but I ain't even gonna lie.
So I am 4-0.
Bro, Patrick Mahomes has kind of been selling me like these past 2 weeks. When it comes to fantasy football, he been selling me. I ain't gonna lie. Everybody has been doing good.
I mean, why'd you pick Mahomes in fantasy? Like what?
Yeah, that was a mistake.
I was gonna take Lamar Jackson, but he was already going.
I don't think Mahomes ever led in fantasy.
Nah, he probably hasn't led since like 2018.
Nah, I don't think he's ever led. I think it's been Rodgers, Lamar, Allen 2 times. I think Mahomes has never led in fantasy.
See, it's what you got to do when you're picking fantasy, especially if you're picking later. Dude, draft Lamar Jackson. Either draft Lamar Jackson or draft Josh Allen.
He's already gone.
Yeah,
both of them are gone.
No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about in general.
Nah.
Like me, I had the last pick. So what I did is I think I picked some rinky-dink running back. But usually people wait to pick their quarterbacks. I always take my quarterbacks early. If I'm gonna have like the 7th or the 8th pick or one of the last picks, take your quarterback early and take Lamar Jackson because he's a running back.
Yeah, you gotta take the dual threats.
If Lamar Jackson not available,
this will give you a lot.
Yeah, but if Lamar Jackson is not available, you take Josh Allen. Like those are gonna be my two picks.
I should have took CJ Stroud. That's what I should have did.
He ain't gonna get you a lot of points.
Yeah, I mean it's between Mahomes, Stroud, and like Jordan Love. So Mahomes is kind of my best.
Probably bet. Jordan Love. Honestly, I believe Jordan Love.
If Jalen Hurts was competent, maybe.
Yeah, I was scared to take Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, he gonna get them. He gonna get them touchdowns from the tush push, but he's gonna turn the ball over. So he's going.
Yeah, his turnover was going to bring you down a little bit. So never really helped. Everyone's ready to wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we appreciate all y'all that decide to stay and watch. We will be talking about week 5. It looks like there's some good matchups going on. So once again, we appreciate all the comments, all the love, and y'all stay tuned for some of these videos we got coming out. We got a lot of stuff in the vault that we definitely gonna come out with, pretty soon. So, hey man, we'll catch y'all on the next live. Peace.